We are doing October number 22, paper 4-2. Let's start from the first question. Okay, as discussed, this is not that difficult. In fact, the paper itself is quite approachable. So, yep. You're saying a computer program is needed to store the jobs in order of priority. Each job has a number and a priority from 1 to 10, with 1 being the highest and 10 being the lowest. Okay, then there's a 2D array, which has 99 rows. Okay, so that's right. So we have 99 rows. This is just for our notes keeping. And then it has 2 columns. In fact, it should be 100 rows. 100 rows and 2 columns. All right. They're saying that column 0 will store the job number and column 1 will store the priority number. So this is how the array would look like. So if we have row 0, row 1, and if we have column 0, column 1, so this would be first, it will be the job number. Maybe job number is 92 and maybe the priority is 5, and then this is again the job number, which could be maybe 93, and then the priority could be 4. So this is how it's going to look like. We'll have 100 rows, so this will go all the way till 99, and the columns would be 2 for all of these values. So they're saying there's a global variable number of jobs which stores the number of jobs currently in the array. Write the code to declare the 2D array jobs and the global variable number of jobs, and then we have to initialize and store -1 in each of the element and assign 0 to number of jobs. Okay. Very simple. So we have to define initialize like this, and we have the variables here. So we have the jobs, and then jobs is going to be a 2D array. So they're saying that it will store -1. So we can just initialize it here as well. Let's make it empty. Or let's in fact give it some dimensions as well, and we can just go through the values and add -1. So totally up to you. So we make it empty initially, and then we have the number of jobs, which is also set to 0 initially. And in fact, we have to do this inside. Okay, so we'll just skip here. Okay, so we have global, the value jobs, and then we do for I in range. So we have 100 rows, so we run the loop 100 times, and then we do jobs dot append, and in the square brackets we write -1 or -1. The reason is because we have 2 columns here, so in every row there would be 2 values, both would be initially -1 and then -1. Same for all the rows, so all the values would be -1 set to this initially. And if we just create the main function, we can just test it.
What?
So for the evidence, we will just write something like this: number of jobs, like this, and just put a hashtag, and I'll write int next to it, like this. And we can do the same thing here, and we'll say this is an int array, and we can say that it has 100 rows and 2 columns. But this would not be proper syntax of code, right? So you can just paste this in the evidence, and then you can get rid of this line because it's not accurate. So if I run it, so it prints all the initialized values.
Make number of jobs 0 and initialize.
Because we have the Python syntax, so we cannot just leave it without assigning a value in the global variable, right? So we have to reassign it inside so we can access it globally throughout. So if the number of job becomes equal to 100, or it becomes greater than equal to 100 at any point, then that means that there is not enough space. So no space, can't add this job. Okay, otherwise, if that is not the case, what will we do is we'll simply add the value into the array. So we have the jobs array, and we'll go on the current number of jobs. Okay, so what are we doing here? So let's say There are two jobs right now, so we have one at index 0 and one at index 1. So maybe let's change these values. So this is 1, this is 5, and then this is 2, and then this is 3. And then remaining all the values beneath them are -1. So these are the only two actual jobs that we have in the queue right now in the array. So what we have to do is we simply have to place the value there. Again, this job number and priority, these are two different values. We have to pass them as a 1D array. So I'll just put them in square brackets just like we did here. So -1 comma -1, instead of that we'll put here the job number, and here we'll put in the priority, and this will end up creating a 1D array, and then we add that into the existing jobs array to make it a 2D array. And then the question says that we have to output added if the job was successfully stored in the array. So we'll do print added, and then we have to do, okay, so we have to increment the number of jobs by 1 like this. And with this, the whole thing is done. So we don't have to return anything. It's a procedure. Then they're saying that in the main program, call the initialize and then call the add job procedure to add the following jobs in the order given. Okay, so we have to add these. So we'll just quickly do it manually. So this would be add job. Okay, here we have all the jobs added. And now in the next part, they are saying then when the new job has been added, this array is sorted into ascending numerical order of priority using an insertion sort. Write the code for the procedure insertion sort. Okay, so we had done this recently, if I remember correctly. We did this in one of these questions from May 2025. Yep, this insertion sort. So we're not going to redo this. Just a quick recap and we can move forward. Okay, so we'll call it insertion sort now. This is for 1D array. We have to change this to work for a 2D array. So what does insertion sort do? As we discussed before, it will pick one value of the array and then it will go to all the previous values. So if we have multiple values like this, it will pick this value and it will compare, and it will keep on going to the previous values until it finds the right inserting point. So maybe we have 10, we have 30, we have 0, and we have 7. So if we pick this 0, this eventually has to go at this point, right? And then all the values will get pushed one value ahead. And that is what we do. We keep on pushing the values one ahead at a time. Okay, so this is the code. Now we
I
need to,
have a question.
okay, so for insertion sort, this is in 1D array, we just have to convert this into 2D array. So the name of the array that we are using is called jobs. So let's change all of this. We in fact don't need a parameter in this case. This should be set to jobs. Same here, same. Okay, secondly, we also need to globally access the variables, jobs, and number of jobs. Okay, so everything remains the same. Now we have to access the whole array at once. The question says that it has to be ordered based on the priority. Okay, so as the question told us, the priority is in the first column. It's in the second column. Okay, it's in column 1, the priority. So we have to sort this on the basis of column number 1, and that is what we're going to do. Since we are since we have these two columns here, so we'll be swapping the whole row at once. So we have to save both of these values in some variables, and then we have to swap them to put them in the right order. Okay, so jobs index I, first we get the key here, and let's call it key 2. So I'll just add into the existing. So this will be jobs index I column 1 like this, right? So this would be your, I'm just adding comment here, this is the job number, and then this is going to be the priority. So we are copying them before we actually replace the values. Okay, then in the next part, we are checking while j is greater than or equal to 0, and we have the I here. Okay, so again, here we'll do,
Can we just
so here we have j, and instead of j, we'll do it j minus 1 column 1, and we make it greater than our key 2. Okay, so what are we doing? We got the value from the current row, and then we are checking it against the previous row. Okay, so if we are at this value 3, we are checking is 3 less than the value of the previous or greater than the value of the previous row, which is 5. So maybe let's make it 6. So since 6 is greater than 5, this is this would be checked. Okay, then in the next line, so this is the first part. Okay, now we have
Why
to
did
do,
we need
so we already have done I minus 1 and we'll keep it to j this time. Okay, so this will be checked, and then in the next line we are comparing it with the j plus 1, which again, because we have subtracted 1 and then we're adding 1 in here, so we're going to check it against the column 0 like this, and here we're going to move the value 0. So we're saying that copy the value of the current row column 1 onto the next row's column 0. So once this is done, then we have to do the same thing for the, so this should be j, then we have column 1 is equal to jobs column j, and we do the same thing for the next column, column number 1. Okay, once this is done, then we are supposed to subtract 1. This is already done because we are going from the right to the left side. Okay, once we find the right spot where we have to
in
insert the value,
line?
so we are going to put the key value at the current row. So instead we have to add the column. This should be column 0 and this should be key. So we are bringing back the original value into the new spot, and then we have to do the same thing for the next row column
The
1, and we
key
get
is the
from the
entire
key to, this is where we had saved the
row.
previous priority, and then we return the value of jobs if they have asked us to return. Okay, they've not asked us to return, so we'll just get rid of the return keyword. So with this, the insertion sort is done. They're saying now
But
output
I have a
each
question.
job number priority on a line. For example, okay, we have to assume that the array is sorted, and now we just have to print the values. So let's go ahead and do that like this, and then we are going to globally access the values, and then we're going to go through the whole array. So for I in range length of, okay, we have number of jobs here. Depending on the number of jobs, we'll go to that many elements, and then we'll print the value of jobs current index I column 0, and we'll say they have a priority comma jobs index I column 1. Okay, so this is pretty much the whole thing. And then they're
I
saying the
have a
main program needs to
question.
sort the array and descend and then output the contents of the array. So amend the main program by writing the call to insertion sort and then print array. Okay, so we are going to call insertion sort here, and then we're going to call the print array here, and we're going to test it now. This is
I
at
have a
78
question.
priority 1, priority 8, priority 9, priority 9, priority 10. We just had to replace the length of jobs because jobs was not a complete array. The number of jobs is the one variable that is telling us how many items we actually are going to iterate through, and this gives us the correct output. So with this, the first question is done.